Hey boys, before we jump into this video, I want to give a quick shout out to Slane. He made me some new channel artwork, which looks amazing in my opinion. I'm going to drop a link to his Twitter below if you guys are interested in anything like that. He does sell artwork and things like that. So if you have any interest in it, Twitter will be below. You can go ahead and message him on there or see his other work there. Also, shout out to Oscar, kind of brought me up to date on some of this stuff, which is why I'm making this video. As always, I always shout out Oscar. You guys know his channel. I'll drop a link there as well. But let's get into the video. Alright, what's going on boys? My name is Godstatus. Today we're going to be looking at the strongest gun in Phantom Forces that you unlock at rank 14, and that is the M4. It's a normal carbine, but a lot of people don't realize the power of this gun. So previously the M16A4 was the strongest AR in the game. I mean, it can be argued, but it's very hard to argue. Now, the M4 really does take the cake, and for a few reasons. So, let's talk about all the pros of the M4. For one, I'm not going to be using a macro throughout this video. For those of you guys who don't know, a macro is a program that I would just hold left click and it would automatically burst the gun for me. So we're not going to be using a macro just to show that even though someone like me who never uses burst guns can still burst the gun very easily. It's a lot easier than the M16A4 in my opinion. Oscar said the same thing. It definitely feels a ton easier because you can click faster. The gun has 50 more rate of fire. So this gun shoots at 950 rate of fire, so 950 bullets per minute, and it has the fastest reload time out of any assault rifle in the game. Assault rifle and carbine in the game, I should say, which is absolutely insane. Reloads in, I believe it's 1.7 seconds. That's a super fast reload. Now, also, let's talk about the fact that this gun can one burst at close range. So, up to, I believe, 50 studs, the gun is 3 bullets to kill to anywhere on the body, which makes it a lot stronger than a lot of the ARs we use. So, something like the G36 even. I don't believe the G36 is even able to one burst, or excuse me, 3 shot to anywhere on the body close range. The gun's incredibly strong, by all means. And the fact that it has this much rate of fire, and the main selling point for these guns about burst is the recoil. For some reason, recoil on burst guns is like non-existent. It has like a tiny bit, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing that really throws you off. Take something like, I don't know, the HK416's recoil, or like the AKM or anything like that, and they have a ton of recoil. Shoot a lot slower, don't kill anywhere near as fast, but this gun is just, it's absolutely bonkers. I'm not gonna lie. I've said it for a really long time that burst guns are extremely overpowered, and there's not really been anything to change that, truthfully. Nothing has really changed about how good burst guns are, which is kind of upsetting in my opinion, because it has been an issue for a very long time. It's very hard to argue that burst guns aren't overpowered. Take something even like the AK-12BR, we had to fight for a while to get that gun changed up a little bit, but it finally did. The AK-12BR used to be able to shoot 1,000 rate of fire and was extremely accurate. It was basically a laser beam. And burst guns, the issue with them is that their initial burst has a little bit of recoil. It has a little bit of jump. But when you go ahead and you're bursting very consistently, it doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and show an example here real quick. So if we look at the wall, I want to kill people so I'm not dying as I'm trying to do this. So if we go ahead and look at a wall, right? Your first burst, it has some jump to it, right? But once you get a consistent burst going, there really isn't anything that, there's no recoil to it. There really isn't. It's not hard to control whatsoever. And when you have a gun that can shoot this fast and this accurately, things become a little bit of a problem. Look at how fast I'm able to kill this guy. Even if I can show, like, if I can get someone close range and just one burst it to show you guys, it's insane. The guns are way too strong for what they offer. Oh no, that was real bad. My crew did me. But I was saying, the guns are way too strong. Wow, he just went off. For what they offer. A rank 14 gun, and I know a lot of people, rank shouldn't necessarily matter per se, but, oh, no, rank doesn't really matter, and in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't. It's not a big issue, and it shouldn't be seen as an issue, but I'm just saying rank 14, you unlock the gun very early on, and it's, like I said, it's kind of hard to argue that this wouldn't be considered the best gun in the game. It's extremely accurate, has extremely fast reload time, has extremely fast time to kill. It's basically everything you'd want in a gun. The only downfall is that it's burst. So you need to learn to burst a little bit. But like I said, even someone like myself who never really used burst guns, I much rather just, you know, point and just hold right or left click and call it a day. But for just how powerful the guns are, it's worth learning. It 100% is. Right now we're going 32-9. Nothing too crazy. We're in a lobby with a few more higher ranks, some decent people. It's not like a huge pub stomp of a lobby, but it's kind of wild. I've advocated for burst guns being nerfed for a very long time. I know they were trying to make it so that guns can't be macroed, but they've come to the realization that it's not really possible unless they extremely nerf the guns into the ground, which I don't agree with. I don't agree that these guns should be nerfed to the ground by any means, because I feel like that would just completely kill them off, and I don't want the guns to be killed off. a burst gun in itself, I believe, should have that extra bit of power because it is harder to use than just your normal left click and normal full auto gun. It definitely is. It's a little bit harder to use. Granted, this one I said feels a lot easier than the M16A4. Bro, we're just spawning in and dying. We're getting clapped. It's a lot easier than the M16A4, but it still isn't anything too incredibly hard. I feel like it really doesn't take a long time to master a gun like this, especially one that could shoot faster because of how much more consistent it is. My main issue is that the M16A4 has these... Okay, thank you, Oscar. I am baby. My main issue is that the M16A4 is that it shoots a little bit slower, so your bursts have to be a little bit more patient and a little bit more well-timed. But with the M4, you just kind of spam your left-click button, and honestly, you can just call it a day at that point. That's really all. Like, there isn't much more to it. It's so incredibly strong that it really does need a change. I don't want its rate of fire to be changed. I would more look for them to do something about the recoil of these guns, and that alone could cause, you know, a lot, and I mean a lot different of a gameplay when you're using this gun. If they weren't so accurate, I feel like it wouldn't be as big of an issue, but I also feel like the damage... Actually, no, because it's a 6-shot at range, so... Or, excuse me, a 5-shot at range, which isn't bad. Ooh, isn't bad. It's only a 2-burst, which... Again, that's not that bad, but you gotta remember, take something like, you know, an AKM that can 4-shot or 3-shot to the torso at range, and that only shoots at 600 rate of fire. Well, you take an M4, which is a carbine that shoots at 950, and it becomes a lot more powerful. Even than that, that's kind of crazy. It takes away the perks of using a super hard-hitting gun when you have a gun that is so accurate yet so powerful at the same time, which is that's where I see the balance is really struggling. There's no use in using a higher recoil gun, and I've kind of been saying this about a lot of guns for a while. Using a higher recoil gun genuinely just isn't worth it most of the time because there's so many guns out there like this that are extremely accurate, also extremely easy to use, and you get all the benefits of a high-hitting gun. So it's hard to strike a good balance. I personally, if there's any change to burst guns, I would like to see some recoil be added. And I would also like... I'm getting shot from everywhere. Oh my god. I would like to see some recoil added. And I don't know if I necessarily want the damage tweaked, because I don't feel like that would really... I feel like that would kind of kill off where the gun stands. I think having it be a 1-burst is fine, but I don't like that you can laser this gun across any map in the game. That's where the real issue is for me. Now, a lot of people might have different opinions on it. People might think that, you know, 3 bursts at 950 rate of fire, or excuse me, 1 burst, so 3 bullets at 950 rate of fire is a bit too much, which I could understand, but I also don't feel like that's the solution that I'm looking for personally. I know a lot of people might, because that seems kind of crazy, but at the same time, you don't want a more skill-based gun to be absolutely ruined. That's not my goal with this whatsoever. I don't think having... Because if you, in all honesty, if you put more recoil and change the damage of the gun, I feel like that would just be killing off the burst category, and that's just not at all worth it for anyone. I don't think that would do any real improvement. Like, yeah, okay, would it nerf the gun? Sure, but I don't think that's the goal that we're looking for. I don't think we're looking for killing the gun off. I think we're looking for improvement and balance, which is where, you know, we all should be focused on. 77-16, wow, we dropped a lot more kills towards the end here. Can we fix anything up? No. Ah, Oscar's there. Please go away, you fish baby. Jesus. All right. 78-16. I'm going to hop into a game. I want to show some stats kind of first up and like kind of explain everything to you guys and then get your opinions on it in the comments. So let's hop over to that. Alright, so how I was comparing the M4 to something like an AKM, I kind of want to show you. So the AKM could 3-hit to the body at close range, up to I believe 80 studs, which is 30 studs more than the M4, don't get me wrong, obviously. However, the recoil is the main thing. So let's take a look at the AKM's recoil, and then we'll show you the M4's recoil, and just kind of try to compare. So I'm actually going to go ahead and let me like suicide and get the gun set up and everything, and then we'll cut back to this. Alright, so just to show, we're going to rock the AKM. We're going to stand in the exact same spot and show you guys the recoil pattern. So this gun shoots 350 rounds per minute slower, does similar damage. The long range, obviously the AKM is better. However, it does similar damage and time to kill close range. And let's just show the difference between the recoil that you'll especially be able to see at a range. So just to show up close, this is the AKM with like a full attachment setup and everything, which doesn't look that bad, right? It isn't too spread out, but this is also at a pretty close range. So if we take something like this, and you can see how much more difficult that becomes to control. Now, if we take something like the M4, It's the same thing as well. Super tight. Even that initial jump is far less. So when you get that initial jump going, there's basically no vertical recoil. It's maybe, you know, a stud or two up, which isn't much. And if we stand in the exact same spot over here, again, very easy to control. Has a little bit more recoil, but it's far less than something such as like the AKM. So again, if we sit at a range with the AKM, which I'll try to stand, you know, exact same. Look at how much more of a jump that is. If I try to show something real quick right here, this will actually really display it. So if I try to show like that, there we go. You can see how big of a jump that really is. Now let's take the M4 and do a burst. Do you see how smaller that is? So instead of having to go this high and drag back down, so instead of going like that, or, you know, kind of trying to pull it back down, the M4, you really can just very, and I mean very slightly, move it down. And then you're good to go. And like I said, I also suck at bursting. If I take out an M16A4, I'm very inconsistent. The M4 is a lot easier to burst. Like, just so people can see, I'm not macroing it or anything. Hold up, just to show real quick. And that's a pretty consistent burst overall. Like, is it perfect by any means? No. But that's pretty consistent. And to do something like that when I barely ever use a burst gun without a macro shows how easy it really is. Now, this gun is absolutely bonkers, and like I said, I've been advocating for this to be nerfed for a very long time, but it just hasn't been. So maybe if we get a lot more push towards these guns, they might be looked into. Again, I'm going to make this clear because I know people are going to see this video and be like, oh, Godstatus just wants it nerfed because he doesn't like burst guns. Meh. That's not the case. I don't want the gun to be killed. I do not want bursts to be useless. I don't want them to be absolutely killed off from, like, how strong they really should be. But I think for a gun that's this easy to burst, which, again, I'm not perfect at it by any means, but it isn't difficult at all. It really isn't. For a gun that is this accurate, and for a gun that is this strong, something needs to be added. For it to have, like, no recoil at all. Granted, okay, it has some, but this is really nothing. The amount of it's moving back and forth is basically going to be the size of someone's body at that range. Obviously, if they're super far away, like if you're shooting at someone up there, it's a little bit different, but you guys get the point. Extremely accurate, extremely strong. I personally would like to see some recoil added, and if that doesn't change anything, then explore other options. I don't want the damage nerfed necessarily. I don't necessarily want the rate of fire nerfed. I just want some balance to the guns. I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, shout out to Oscar for kind of bringing the M4 more into light for me since things have changed in the past little bit. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.